Joining us now, Democratic Congressman of California, Robert Garcia, national co-chair of the Harris campaign. He was in the spin room for the vice president last night. It's good to see you once again. So let's talk about that criticism that Biden-Harris didn't fix immigration in the past 3.5 years, that people 3.5 years later are still feeling unhappy with the economy because, you know this, polls suggest voters think Trump would do a better job on both of those critical issues. So did he land at least those punches?
I don't think Donald Trump landed a single punch in that debate. I mean, he was saying strange comments on the immigration issue. He's talking about immigrants eating pets. He was barely coherent the entire time. And Kamala Harris kept him on the defensive. And I think if you look at all of the reaction from the debate, whether it's from his MAGA base or any of the polls we've seen with independent voters and swing state voters, everyone agrees that Kamala Harris won the debate. Now, it's important. This is also a new campaign. She's been obviously the presidential nominee, not even 2 months. And so she'll continue to talk about issues around immigration, issues around the economy. But it's been Kamala Harris and the Biden administration that has had a bipartisan border and immigration deal in front of the Congress with the support of Republican senators that Donald Trump has tanked in the Congress because he wanted the administration to get zero credit. So the person that actually wants to do nothing on securing the border or actually any type of immigration plan has been Donald Trump. He just wants to talk about it and demonize immigrants. And so Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, they have a plan. They're talking about it. And she had a great night on these issues last night.
So, look, you were in the spin room, but I'm sure you were also watching things, for example, like Fox News. The reviews have been, just as you said, largely, with the exception of Donald Trump's review, saying she won. The momentum has definitely been with her. The buzz has been with her. The money has been with her significantly, but the polls seem to have stalled. So what's going to move them? Do you think the debate is going to move them, or what's the plan moving forward?
I mean, look, I think if you look at the polling, she has continued to move in the right direction. I mean, all the polling has gone in a positive direction for her, and she had some ground to make up, especially in the swing states. And so she continues to hit every single mark that the campaign sets out, breaking all the grassroots funding, the volunteers, the energy. And absolutely, the debate, she did what she needed to do, which is keep Donald Trump on the defensive. And so I think you're already seeing energy. You saw a historic amount of fundraising again happen last night, historic numbers. And so, of course, the debate is going to help and continue to move those numbers in the right direction. But I want to caution folks. The vice president herself has said this is going to be a close election and that we are running an underdog campaign. That is still the way we are running this race. We have got to work hard every single day, and that's the way that we win. We cannot assume that somehow we are in the lead. This is going to be a close election.
So clearly you have a strategy in place. It's a strategy you and the other folks in the campaign that we've had on have been consistent in talking about. Big piece of that being the unprecedented investment, the number of offices you have in those battleground states. But let me talk about two things specifically from last night. One is the great reviews. So there's a certain amount of momentum about that, right? The second is, I don't know if you heard, there was this endorsement by this pop star named Taylor Swift. Is there a way that the campaign adjusts its strategy, whether it's those reviews or whether it's that endorsement, and you use them to target specific voter groups or use them to message?
I mean, absolutely. I think first what happened last night, I'm seeing just positive reaction all over social media, TikTok spaces where young people are having discussions. It was widely applauded by everyone. And so I think that the debate, her being able to put him on the defensive was important. One thing I keep seeing over and over again is that he couldn't even look her in the eye. He is such a coward. He could not look at her one time. And so he is clearly scared of her, doesn't want to debate her again. And now we have folks like Taylor Swift coming on board. I think she won't be the last big pop star name, I'm sure, that jumps on board. This is a campaign that is.
Are you you want to break some news here?
No, I have no news to break. This is my assumption is that there will be others, including some of my personal faves, that will get on board.
Sounds
I hope.
Like you know something.
I don't. I do not. What I do know is that Taylor Swift is going to move a lot of her fans in a direction where I think the country is moving. This is a great night for the vice president and a horrible, terrible night, which we love to see. I love to see for Donald Trump. I mean, I think that he was exposed for the fraud that he is. I think he was exposed for his bizarre behavior. I love that the vice president encouraged people to attend one of his rallies, because all you have to do is sit through one of those to see how unhinged some of his comments could be. All around good night. And look, whether you're on Fox or I'm talking to my Republican colleagues here in Congress, or I'm hearing from Republican folks I know back home, there was a clear winner. It was Kamala Harris.